Ukraine.
And in sports, Ohio volleyball defeats Kent State last night. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Taylor Mondragon.
And I'm Haley Hollinger. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. The Appalachian Regional Commission is awarding $47 million in grant funding to promote economic development in Appalachia.
The goal is to help the region diversify away from coal. Here in Athens, Ohio University is getting a $50,000 grant from the ARC for its project called Fly Ohio. The project will conduct research analysis and prepare a report on advanced air mobility strategy for Ohio's 32 Appalachian counties. The Ohio Chamber of Commerce says a new report will help improve the business climate in Ohio. That report looked at education, quality of living, business friendliness, infrastructure, innovation, and taxes. Some of the recommendations include teaching more computer skills, affordable housing, and reducing regulations. Athens County agencies and the U.S. Department of Agriculture will host a funding fair to help residents attach their homes to the new US 50 sanitation sewer project. The fair is scheduled to take place November 1st between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. at the Athens Public Library. The Athens Messenger reports paperwork for the process will be available at the event, along with representatives from the USDA, the Athens City County Health Department, Athens County Water and Sewer District, and Hocking-Athens Perry Community Action.
The National Park Service is awarding grants for cultural heritage preservation in Kentucky, Tennessee, and 5 other states in the lower Mississippi region. The Young Historians Project in Kentucky is training students in historical research, sourcing, writing, and public speaking. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, the Lynching Sites Project is placing a historical marker for Pat Crump, a black man lynched by a mob in South Memphis. 23 projects in the lower Mississippi region are also receiving $300,000 in grants for various projects. And it's getting pretty chilly out. Here's a live look outside College Gate on Ohio University's campus. Temperatures are starting to feel cooler and fast. We're joined by forecaster Jacob Van Cleve, who's here to tell us what to expect for the rest of the week. Jacob, is it winter already?
Not quite. It's fall-like temperatures, but we have this low-pressure system that's sitting over our region here, and it's bringing those cooler temperatures. Now, I do expect that to warm up slightly as we get throughout the week, but at the time now, we just have cold temperatures, and there is a little bit of a warning for cold temperatures. Now, those cold temperatures themselves, tonight you have a low of 30 degrees. That's why we have a freeze warning coming up here for Athens, Ohio. Now, Athens, that freeze warning is because temperatures are going to be chilly. You just got to be prepared. To have a jacket ready, or just in general, just be aware those temperatures are expected to warm up and then get rid of any frost that is on the floor in the meantime. Now, sorry, I guess my computer doesn't want to work for me today, but in the meantime, temperatures, Athens tomorrow, they're going to be a little bit warmer, but not too warm, with about high of around 54 degrees and a low, again, a little bit warmer in the 40 degrees region. Now, after that, we have a little bit of weather going on across the country. I can talk a little bit more about that with my full forecast coming up. That's all I have for now for first weather.
Thank you. West Virginia State Police are investigating a fatal school bus accident. The Mingo County Sheriff's Office says the accident happened around 7 a.m. Tuesday on U.S. Route 52 south of Mingo Central High School. Police say the driver of a truck that collided with the bus head-on was killed. County school officials say 7 students and the bus driver were taken to a hospital for evaluation following the crash. A Montana man is being charged in connection with a West Virginia cold case. 59-year-old Rocky Louie Woody is expected to appear in court next month. Police in Billings, Montana say Woody confessed to killing Melissa Martinez in May 2021. Martinez, also known as Lisa Anna Stepp, died in a hospital from a gunshot wound to the torso and lacerations to the head in March 1993. Police say witnesses initially provided information that led to Woody, but there was not enough evidence to charge him at the time. Shortly after Martinez's death, Woody moved from Huntington, West Virginia to Billings, Montana. The Biden administration announces its plans to save you money at the pump. Plus, Ukrainian citizens are forced to evacuate their homes. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
coming up on the next Song of the Mountains. Lively performances where old tradition meets new, here on Song of the Mountains.
Thursday at 8 on WOUB.
For some teams, it's win and you're in, and for others, conference titles are on the line. This Friday, the Wheelersburg Pirates travel to Portsmouth West to battle the Senators for the SOC2 crown. The New Lexington Panthers head to Sheridan to test the Generals in a heated NBL cross-conference rivalry. The St. Clairsville Red Devils and the Cambridge Bobcats will face off for the Buckeye 8 title game. So join us on Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
More evidence of Russian atrocities from Putin's invasion.
Russian soldiers killed my husband.
In collaboration with the Associated Press,
4, 5, 6 bodies.
Investigating evidence of Putin's war crimes.
We were starting to see videos showing a lot of civilian deaths.
And the pursuit of justice.
This project is not just about documenting the suffering, it's about understanding what you do with that suffering.
Premieres Tuesday, October 25th, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
When we think about integration, we think about the gains that were made, but at what cost to Black life?
On Making Black America.
There are still real everyday struggles of housing, of healthcare, of employment.
Integration's impact on Black institutions.
We don't want an imitation of white society.
And culture.
Sometimes you just want to celebrate how dope it is to be Black.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back. President Biden's administration details new plans to combat what you pay at the pump.
Gas prices, which peaked over the summer at more than $5 a gallon, has since declined. However, the ongoing war in Ukraine and OPEC's decision to slash oil production is creating uncertainty. Ivan Rodriguez has the story.
President Joe Biden announcing new steps in his administration's ongoing plan to balance the volatile global oil market amid the raging war in Ukraine, while looking to ease soaring gas prices at home.
Gas prices hit almost every family in this country, and they squeeze their family budgets.
The administration hopes the release of an additional 15 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will be enough to dampen the high prices, but is leaving the door open to releasing an additional supply if necessary.
We're calling it a ready and release plan. This allows us to move quickly to prevent oil price spikes and respond to international events.
Wednesday's announcement also detailed plans to replenish the nation's emergency reserve when prices fall to $70 per barrel, which is now at a 40-year low.
That means oil companies can invest to ramp up production now. With confidence, they'll be able to sell their oil to us at that price in the future.
And put pressure on oil companies to cut costs to consumers.
Bring down the price you charge at the pump to reflect what you pay for the product.
While these moves will take some time to be implemented, AAA says drivers are making adjustments.
Instead of going to the grocery store and maybe going to pick up the kids, you're doing everything at once to try to save on the gas you have.
But will likely be undeterred from making those upcoming holiday road trips.
The desire to get back out there is definitely strong.
In Washington, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
According to the International Energy Agency's forecast, carbon dioxide emissions from burning fossil fuels are expected to rise less than a single percentage point in 2022. Officials say the IEA say they expect CO2 emissions to increase by 300 million metric tons this year, noticeably less than the 2 billion tons recorded last year. The agency says the lesser emissions is due to multiple factors, including the boost in electric vehicles and the Russian attack on Ukraine. Martial law has been declared by Russian President Vladimir Putin in 4 regions of Ukraine the Kremlin claims to have annexed. The move comes after the new Russian commander in Ukraine says the situation in Kherson is very difficult. Gloria Pazmino has the story.
Russian President Vladimir Putin announcing martial law in 4 southern regions of Ukraine the Kremlin claims to have annexed in violation of international law.
Therefore, I signed a decree on the introduction of martial law in these 4 subjects of the Russian Federation, so it will be immediately sent to the Federation Council.
This comes as Russian-installed leaders in Kherson began relocating thousands of civilians. They say it's to move them away from the front line of the fighting. Ukrainian officials say the declaration is propaganda that aims to intimidate the people there. Ukrainian forces have been advancing through several parts of the Kherson region in recent weeks, capturing villages and farmland along the western bank of the Dnieper River.
What Putin is trying to do there is forestall, of course, any further losses of territory, desperately trying to put the military back in charge of everything, including civilians in those regions, but it's really not going to help him much.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky held a crisis meeting to avoid a breakdown of Ukraine's energy system, as Russia continues its wave of attacks on power stations. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Citizens of Ukraine are being evacuated from the Kherson region to the left bank of the Dnieper. That way, citizens will be further from the front lines. Kherson governor says they plan to relocate 60,000 people. Yuri Sobolevsky, who is the deputy head of the Ukrainian government, confirmed the evacuation as well. Sobolevsky said that active hostiles are a possibility, and that possibility sparked the mass evacuation. He said there aren't any guarantees that evacuated citizens will be safe, but that they are free to make their own choice. Citizens got the evacuation message Wednesday morning. There is also free housing being offered in Russia to help relocate the people of the region. President Biden gave his remarks on the Russian leader's tactics in Ukraine, saying, quote, Vladimir Putin finds himself in an incredibly difficult position, and it seems his only tool available to him is to brutalize individual citizens in Ukraine. Plus, new studies show inflation is outpacing wages. That story's still ahead.
We have a low-pressure system sitting over our region currently. It's going to bring some rain throughout the day. I'll talk a little bit more about that in my full forecast when Newswatch returns. In the meantime, check us out on social media. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
More evidence of Russian atrocities from Putin's invasion.
Russian soldiers killed my husband.
In collaboration with the Associated Press,
4, 5, 6 bodies.
Investigating evidence of Putin's war crimes.
We were starting to see videos showing a lot of civilian deaths.
And the pursuit of justice.
This project is not just about documenting the suffering. It's about understanding what you do with that suffering.
Premieres Tuesday, October 25th, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
We have 3 kids, 16, 14, and 4.
PBS Kids has been a constant in our lives. I watch my older children grow up on it. My little one is growing up on it.
Come on, partner. Deanna loves Odd Squad. She and her siblings are learning about problem solving and working together as a team.
We did it!
It lets them all figure out things together.
I did it!
It's wonderful that we have something that we can all relate to as a family.
That's why we value PBS Kids.
I love being a teacher, and so when I became a parent, we found lots of learning opportunities from watching PBS Kids. Our son Carson loves Curious George.
It's fun for him to watch, but also to learn.
He could learn about colors and shapes, or even math and science.
Oh, the blue and yellow!
We grew up watching PBS Kids, and we know that when we watch that it's going to be safe and it's going to be fun. And we want Carson to have that same tradition.
And that's why we value PBS Kids.
My wife and I are raising 2 young boys, Gideon and Monarch.
We're a total PBS Kids family. We love, especially Gideon, Peg plus Cat, and Daniel Tiger.
Monarch, he's really into animals, so we usually watch Dinosaur Train or Wild Kratts. He was so much into Wild Kratts, I had to get a membership to the zoo. PBS Kids shows us the world we can go out and explore together.
And it brings us together as a family, and I really value that.
Welcome back, Southeastern Ohio. I'm Newswatch forecaster Jacob Van Cleve. Taking a look at the regional radar here, you can see a little bit of rain over the Great Lakes region that's associated with that low pressure system that has been sitting over us for the past couple of days, bringing those cloudier skies and wetter conditions, especially with that rain that we saw a little bit in the afternoon hours of yesterday. Now, eventually this system itself is going to push its way on out of the region, and it's going to then make the temperatures feel a little bit warmer throughout the rest of the day. I'm sorry, I guess, again, I'm having issues with the computer here. Sorry again, I can't get this to work. There we go. Now it's working with me. Maybe, maybe not. So, okay, regional radar for Athens. Sorry again for that. Computer isn't my thing. I hate computers. Anyways, Athens region, you see that rain in the region. It's just sitting over Pittsburgh there, and it's just bringing a little bit of rain. Nothing for concern here in Athens itself. Now, Athens, you have a freeze warning for the region currently. That's for tonight. Temperatures are going to be dropping down into 30 degrees. It is a concern just for freeze itself. You should be cautious when you're driving the roads in the overnight hours. Now, do expect those temperatures to warm up as the day progresses on tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's high is going to be 50 degrees. Or not tomorrow, Athens tonight, 30. Now tomorrow, the actual surface analysis for tomorrow, you can see that precipitation with that low pressure system I was mentioning before is eventually going to push on its way north, and high pressure is going to funnel into the region. Now that high pressure itself is going to make things a little bit warmer, a little different than what high pressure typically does rather than making it cooler, and we can see that reflected with daily temperatures tomorrow. Tomorrow high of 54 degrees and a low of 34 with partly sunny skies. Now, if we again look at that surface analysis for tomorrow night, that low pressure system then slowly makes its way up more north again. That high pressure is going to funnel into its place and bring us those clear skies, sunny skies throughout the remainder of the week. Now, again, if we move on to Friday, you see that high pressure again funneling in. A little bit of that warm front moving on towards the east. Again, that's, well, like I mentioned, those warmer temperatures are going to make that happen. Now, if we take a look at our weekend forecast here for Athens, you can see a high of 65 degrees and a low of 41 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Now, that is with that warm front that I did mention. It's going to come in the area and make the conditions clear compared to how they have been for the last several days. Now, Saturday, you have a high of 71 degrees and a low of 44 degrees and partly sunny skies. Sunday, as we move on to Sunday, the temperatures are still going to stay the same. Conditions still going to be the same because of that high pressure system just going to linger in our region for a little bit with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. Now, if we blow that up and we look at our 7-day outlook as we move on past the weekend, Monday, again, those conditions are just going to continue with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 48 degrees and partly sunny skies. Again, Tuesday, those fall temperatures are here to stay with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 51 degrees. Now, if we move into Wednesday, you can see that 50% chance of rain with a high of 65 and low of 44. Now, that's going to be associated with a low pressure system that will eventually work its way into our region and then bring that rainy conditions and then also drop the conditions later on past our 7-day outlook. That's all I have for full weather. Back to you, Haley.
Thanks, Jake. President Joe Biden announced $2.8 billion in grants for domestic battery supply chains. The Department of Energy is awarding the grants to manufacturing and processing companies in an effort to lower cost and inflation. The funds come from a bipartisan infrastructure law passed last year and are expected to create 8,000 jobs. The White House also announced the formation of the American Battery Materials Initiative. Officials say the goal is to strengthen the supply chain and move away from dependence on China. Biden's announcement comes as Honda plans for development on a new $3.5 billion battery plant in Fayette County, a major investment in the company's transition to electric vehicle production. Honda's proposed plant could potentially see funds from Biden's grant initiative. A new survey finds a huge majority of American workers say their wages are not keeping up with inflation. Jen Sullivan has more on what experts say could help as crushing inflation erodes people's paychecks.
Historic inflation, soaring borrowing costs, and stagnant wages. New evidence that American workers struggle to make ends meet.
I mean, how much more can people spend? I think that the rubber is about to hit the road there.
A new survey sponsored by Bank of America found that nearly 3 in 4 American workers surveyed said the cost of living is outpacing their salary and wages. The data also found that half of employees said that they have to take action to deal with the economic strain. And experts say adjusting your lifestyle is a key first step.
Do you really need a new car? Do you really need extra subscriptions? A recession is the opportunity to look between where we spend our money and what we value and bring them into alignment.
Among the group taking action, 21% are tapping into emergency savings to pay for bills, while 6% are dipping into their 401k and making a hardship withdrawal, and 20% are looking for a higher paying job. The data paints a dire picture of workers under significant financial pressure as crushing inflation erodes paychecks.
There's a lot of people who are just realizing that paycheck to paycheck life is more and more of kind of the default that a lot of us are experiencing because of the fact that prices continue to outpace our wages.
Latina money coach Jenice Torres says that's pushing some to make major career moves.
I'm talking to a lot of people who are thinking about how to diversify their income, either through gig work or starting their own business or even multiple jobs.
She recommends turning your creative skills into a side hustle or turning your professional skills into a consulting business and sell directly to customers.
They can take the middleman out, which is corporate America, and just go straight to the consumer, offer their services at a higher price.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The Internal Revenue Service will let Americans keep more of their income next year due to inflation. Since tax rates are automatically adjusted for inflation, there will be higher cutoffs for all 7 income tax brackets and a higher standard deduction when you file your tax return. For example, the income thresholds for the top tax rate, 37%, are going up 7% from this year. And the standard deduction, the baseline income people can claim tax-free, will see the largest increase since 1985. The standard deduction for married couples will rise by $1,800, and for individuals, it's a $900 increase.
Coming up in sports, Ohio volleyball takes down Kent State in 5 sets. That story and more when Newswatch returns.
We have 3 kids, 16, 14, and 4.
PBS Kids has been a constant in our lives. I watch my older children grow up on it, my little ones growing up on it.
Come on, partner.
Deanna loves Odd Squad. She and her siblings are learning about problem solving and working together as a team.
We did it!
It lets them all figure out things together.
I did it!
It's wonderful that we have something that we can all relate to as a family.
That's why we value PBS Kids.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
I'm just in awe.
On Finding Your Roots, Anita Hill.
I'd like to hope that I've inherited tenacity.
And Brittany Packnett-Cunningham.
I didn't even know that anything was missing.
Family stories of freedom and fear.
They were basically being terrorized.
They didn't just give up.
And a Civil War sacrifice.
I find myself struck by the cruelty of our history.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
On Secrets of the Dead, the first major archaeological dig at Pompeii in decades. Stunning discoveries.
The new chariot, it's the Lamborghini of this ancient world.
And a deeper understanding of the doomed city's population.
Our main interest is the life world of these people.
Last Days of Pompeii on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back, I'm Sully Beach. Ohio volleyball took down Kent State last night, winning 15-6. The Bobcats started off strong, winning the first set 25-20. Kent State decided to take it to the Bobcats in the second set to take the lead 23-19. The Golden Flashes kept up a fight, but the Bobcats always had an answer. The match was a battle until the 5th set, where the Bobcats went on to have 2 4-0 runs as they took the win. Olivia Margolis and Caroline Clippard led the Bobcats offensively with 16 kills apiece. Both Clippard and Margolis have been huge leaders for the Bobcats this season. Ohio remains in second place in the East Division within the Mid-American Conference. Bowling Green sits ahead of the Bobcats after getting swept by the Falcons earlier this season. Bowling Green has one conference loss, which came to Northern Illinois. Kent State and Buffalo sit with MAC records of 3-6. The Bobcats face off against the MAC opponent Akron Friday and Saturday. Ohio women's soccer prepares to hit the road to take on Toledo tomorrow. 2-7-1 overall and 1-3-4 in the MAC. One of the Toledo's ties came from its most recent game against Miami Sunday. Ohio comes off of a 2-1 loss to Ball State Sunday. It struggled to find the net against the Cardinals. Head coach Aaron Rodgers says he knows the improvements needed ahead of tomorrow's game. Look at the conference standings. Looking at the conference standings, as the MAC season wraps up for Ohio soccer, to win against its last 3 games and if it wants to make it in. Buffalo is in its first place with 5 MAC wins, no losses, 3 ties. Ball State also has 5 wins in the conference, right behind the Falcons. Western Michigan sits above Ohio in its standings, and it's one of the final teams it faces. These last few games are important for the Bobcats. We're going to have to definitely go into the game against Toledo from a sharper perspective from the beginning. But unfortunately, we've given away some softer goals this year that I think we know we can defend better. The Bobcats hope they can learn from their loss and translate it on the road. First kick is set for 6 p.m. in Toledo. Toledo, Western Michigan, and Akron are Ohio's opponents to round out this regular season. Ohio football prepares for Northern Illinois on Sunday. The Bobcats have won 2 games in a row and look to become a bowl-eligible team, needing 2 more wins to get there. One of the recent wins was the Bobcats' first road victory of the season. Head coach Tim Albin says he is disappointed with how the offense finished Saturday, but it was a team win.
I'm disappointed with how we finished in the offensively in the second half. Don't get me wrong, we got to coach better. But with the win, it's a team win, and that's going to be the message. We're very, very excited about coming home, the student section.
I'm super excited to see what they do on Saturday. Curtis Rourke, he's doing amazing for the Bobcats. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited to go watch.
Me too.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pass it on to Jacob for final weather.
Thank you so much. So yeah, not the only thing freezing tonight other than the computer is also Athens tonight. You do have a freeze warning tonight, with those temperatures dropping into the 30-degree mark. Now, skies will be mostly clear, so expect clear skies for anyone stargazing tonight, but it is going to be chilly. So if you are going to be out, make sure to put a jacket on and whatnot. Now, Athens tomorrow, you will see temperatures warm up a little bit, and the freeze overnight will go away as highs become 54 in the mid-50s and a low to 34 degrees and partly sunny skies. Now, again, as we travel into the 7-day weekend here, we can see that weekend's just going to be beautiful. It's going to be great to watch that football game on Saturday with a high of 71 and a low of 42. Now, as we continue into Sunday, high of 72 on Sunday, low of 43. Now, Monday, you have a high of 73 degrees, low of 47 degrees, and again, partly sunny skies. That'll continue into Tuesday with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 40 degrees, again, with partly sunny skies. Now, that's the reason. The reason for that is because of the high pressure that's going to dominate our region and push this cyclone out of our region, make temperatures cooler, make them a little bit warmer, and then Wednesday, you will see a high of 64, low of 44, with that chance of showers due to a low pressure system or a cold front eventually making its way to the region, and then making temperatures colder again. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, and that.
I really wish that those fall temperatures would have stayed much longer.
I
I'm
know.
not ready to break out my winter coat.
I really like it cooler. I like those little winds. Put a jacket on, maybe a little hot chocolate. That's just the thing I enjoy the most. Now, I do know with those rain coming through, winter's right around the corner, so do be prepared for that.
Okay, and that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Haley Hollinger.
And I'm Taylor Mondragon. Stay tuned for PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Here's a look at Athens tonight.
Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality. Hocking Valley Bank, we know loans. Support comes from Buckeye Hills